European enterprises are pouring tens of millions of euros into AI right now, but there is this really uncomfortable contrast hiding in the data.
Yeah, the failure rates are staggering.
Exactly. I mean, 71% of Nordic CIOs are openly admitting their generative AI projects are failing to deliver any real return on investment within 12 months. Millions of euros in and just, no measurable return out.
Right.
But then you have the historical maritime city of Turku, Finland, where businesses are quietly achieving this mind-bending 12x cost reduction in their operational workflows. So today, we're dissecting exactly how they are doing it and how you can replicate it in this deep dive for AI Insights by AetherLink.
It's a fascinating contrast. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to understand why this matters right now. 67% of AI projects are currently trapped in what we call a pilot phase mentality.
The pilot trap.
Yeah, exactly. Gen AI is incredibly powerful, but fundamentally, it requires constant human reasoning. It needs a human to prompt it, check its output, and then manually move that output to the next system.
Someone holding its hand the whole way.
Precisely. What we are seeing in Turku is the deliberate shift away from that dependency. They are moving strictly toward agentic AI. These are autonomous systems designed to, reason, plan, and execute multi-step tasks without a human at every single click.
And that playbook, the Aetherney V methodology for moving from those supervised, clunky AI experiments to production-scale autonomous agents, that is our absolute focus today. We want to give you the actionable steps to break out of that pilot trap.
Which is so crucial for any CTO or developer listening right now.
Definitely. But to do that, we first have to look at why this breakthrough is happening in Turku instead of a massive traditional tech hub like, say, Helsinki.
Helsinki has the corporate headquarters, sure.
Right. But Turku has quietly consolidated this hyper-specialized ecosystem. You have over 500 AI developers down there. That's roughly 15% of Finland's entire AI workforce clustered there through platforms like Sensei, and they are entirely obsessed with workflow automation.
Yeah, they aren't trying to build a better foundational language model from scratch. That's a fool's errand for most enterprises anyway.
True.
They are building better cognitive scaffolding around the models that already exist. That is the core difference in architecture between a Gen AI pilot and an agentic system.
Okay, let's unpack this, because agentic gets thrown around constantly as a marketing buzzword, and it can be really confusing.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Think of a standard Gen AI pilot as like a highly advanced autocompleter, right? Like having a brilliant but inexperienced intern. They give you a great map. Maybe they even highlight the optimal route, but you still have to put your hands on the wheel and drive the car.
You still have to review everything they do.
Exactly. Agentic AI is like hiring a seasoned manager. It's the self-driving car. It doesn't just read the map. It continuously takes in sensory data, adjusts the steering wheel, hits the brakes when it sees an obstacle, and actually drives the route for you.
It just handles the department and only bothers you when something is actually on fire.
Right. It operates on a continuous loop of reasoning, taking an action, and observing the result of that action.
And that continuous loop is the defining characteristic. It's what separates genuine agency from the rigid automation we've relied on for the past decade.
Which, naturally leads to a question a lot of you evaluating AI adoption are probably screaming at your dashboards right now. Isn't this just robotic process automation with a fresh coat of paint?
The RPA comparison. I hear that all the time.
Right. Because we've been using RPA bots to do repetitive multi-step tasks in corporate environments for years.
We have, but the failure points are entirely different. RPA is deterministic and incredibly brittle. It relies on strict coordinate mapping.
Like identifying specific elements on a screen.
Exactly. If a supplier updates their web portal and moves the total amount due field 2 pixels to the left, or changes the underlying HTML tag, your RPA bot just crashes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it throws an error code, the pipeline stops, and a developer has to go in and rewrite the script.
So it's completely blind. It only knows exactly what you hard-coded it to see based on the layout of the screen.
Right. An agentic AI system, however, uses retrieval augmented generation, or RAA, to parse information semantically.
Which means it actually understands context.
Precisely. It isn't looking for a specific pixel coordinate. It understands the concept of an invoice. By converting the document into high-dimensional vectors, it finds meaning. It looks at the entire document, reasons through the structure, and extracts the amount due regardless of whether the supplier radically changed their template overnight.
That semantic understanding sounds fantastic on paper, but European CTOs need measurable ROI.
They need to see how it translates to the bottom line.
Exactly. And the source material from Aetherney V outlines a specific implementation in Turku's maritime logistics sector that puts real numbers to this. We're looking at a mid-sized operator managing 12 shipping lines and over 40 different supplier systems.
And the sheer volume of unstructured data flowing through a network like that is just staggering. Between port authorities, trucking companies, customs brokers, they were drowning in manual invoice reconciliation.
Yeah, the numbers before bringing in Aetherney V are rough. It took them 5 to 7 days just to process standard invoices, and they were running a 34% error rate.
34%. The amount of friction and payment disputes that generates is a massive drag on operations.
Massive. So to solve this, they didn't just deploy one massive AI model and hope it could juggle everything. They built a multi-agent workflow.
This is where the self-driving car analogy really comes to life.
Right. You have specialized agents handling distinct parts of the problem, dividing the tasks. One agent is strictly running computer vision to extract unstructured data from messy, scanned PDFs.
And once that first agent formats the data into a clean JSON payload, it passes it to a second agent.
A completely different agent.
Yeah, a second agent that takes the extracted data and cross-references it against a massive RA database containing, I think it was 15 years of historical contracts and payment standards.
Then a third agent evaluates those checks to either authorize or flag the payment. But wait, let's pause on the architecture for a second.
Sure.
Hooking all of this up to 40 different supplier systems and whatever ancient legacy ERP this maritime company is running sounds like an absolute nightmare.
It usually is. In traditional software development, building custom APIs for 40 different proprietary systems takes years.
And hundreds of thousands of euros.
Exactly. But this is where the MCP server completely changes the integration game.
The Model Context Protocol server, right. I see MCP all over these Aetherney V technical specs. How does it actually bypass that custom API bottleneck?
Well, instead of relying on rigid, hard-coded API endpoints for every external system, an MCP server gives the AI agents a secure, standardized sandbox. It exposes the legacy ERP's data as specific tools the agent can call upon. So the agent simply says, I need to verify this supplier's banking details.
It just uses natural reasoning.
Exactly. And the MCP server translates that reasoning into the specific SQL query or legacy protocol the underlying system needs. It retrieves the data and hands it back to the agent in a format it understands.
So you don't have to rebuild a brittle point-to-point integration every time the legacy system updates?
Nope. The MCP server handles the translation layer dynamically.
That is wild. And the results of combining that RG memory, the multi-agent workflow, and the MCP server are what drove those crazy numbers we mentioned at the top.
The 12x cost reduction.
Yes. After a 4-month implementation, their invoice processing time dropped from up to 7 days down to 4 hours. 4 hours. They hit 88% complete autonomy on those documents.
And that 34% error rate plummeted to 2.1%.
Plus, the cost per document fell from €3.40 to just 47 cents.
And looking closer at that 2.1% error rate reveals something even more important, actually.
What's that?
Those weren't instances of the AI hallucinating or making stupid mistakes. Those were the agents successfully flagging genuine complex anomalies, like a fundamentally broken contract clause that actually required human judgment to resolve.
Okay, I want to stop and highlight the human element here because you hear 88% autonomous, and if I'm a business leader listening to this, my first thought is payroll reduction.
The automation anxiety kicks in.
Exactly. Did they fire that massive invoice processing team?
They did not. In this specific Turku operator's case, 4.5 full-time employees were reallocated, not eliminated.
They weren't fired.
No, they were moved entirely to strategic supplier relationship management. They started renegotiating vendor contracts based on the new, highly accurate data the agents were surfacing daily.
So they stopped doing mindless data entry and started doing high-value human work. This is really about augmenting the human workforce, not replacing them. So the logistics case study proves these multi-agent workflows function flawlessly in production. But there is a massive catch here.
The compute overhead.
Yeah. If you are running autonomous systems, 247 agents, constantly querying databases, running reasoning loops, aren't your cloud compute costs going to absolutely explode? Especially in the Nordics, where winter electricity prices can hit over €200 per megawatt hour.
It's the hidden killer of most enterprise AI projects, honestly.
Yeah.
Turku recognized this early, which is why the city secured a €5 million government investment specifically focused on neuromorphic research.
Break that jargon down for us. We're used to seeing traditional GPUs powering everything. What makes neuromorphic hardware different?
Traditional GPUs are designed for brute force matrix multiplication. They are incredibly power hungry because they operate on a synchronous clock.
Meaning they're always running at full tilt.
Pretty much. They are constantly moving massive amounts of data back and forth between the processor and the memory, regardless of whether the data is actually changing. But neuromorphic chips are hardware architectures physically inspired by biological brains.
Brain-inspired hardware.
Yeah. They use spiking neural networks, meaning computation and memory are co-located.
So they don't have to constantly shuttle data back and forth. They only fire when there is new information to process.
Fundamentally, yes. Instead of constantly churning through calculations, a neuromorphic processor only consumes significant energy when a specific neuron spikes in response to relevant data. They run 100 to 1,000 times more efficiently.
100 to 1,000 times. That's incredible. And it explains the operational cost advantage. The source notes that deploying neuromorphic optimized agents cuts their computing costs by 15 to 40%.
And when you're running 247 agents, a 40% compute reduction is the difference between generating massive ROI and being shuttered by the CFO.
Absolutely. But hardware efficiency is only one pillar, right? The other is their regulatory edge, specifically concerning the EU AI Act.
Oh, this is a massive advantage.
Because right now, the EU AI Act has basically induced a continent-wide paralysis. Businesses are terrified of compliance penalties, so they are paying what we call an uncertainty premium just sitting on their hands.
But Finland took a highly proactive stance to eliminate that uncertainty premium. Finnish regulators have already provided crystal-clear guidelines on the acceptable risk thresholds for autonomous decision-making.
They laid out the exact documentation standards.
Right. So because the thresholds are clear, Turku businesses aren't paralyzed by compliance fears. They are deploying 3 to 6 months faster than the rest of Europe.
They aren't avoiding the regulation. They have simply been given the grading rubric early. And because they have that rubric, the fear goes away. Okay, so the neuromorphic hardware reduces compute costs, and regulatory clarity removes compliance fear.
Right.
But how do enterprises actually implement this without falling right back into the pilot trap?
It requires a complete teardown of how you view your operational processes. The Aetherney V playbook emphasizes a philosophy called workflow-first design.
You cannot retrofit automation onto a human-centric process.
Exactly. The single biggest mistake a business makes is taking a messy process and simply trying to slap an AI agent on top of it to make it faster. You have to design the workflow for autonomous execution from its very inception.
Because human workers rely on intuition.
Right, and asking a colleague over the partition when something looks weird. An agent relies on unambiguous decision rules.
Here's where it gets really interesting, actually. The source material points out a fascinating psychological hurdle. Enterprises actually overescalate issues.
Oh, constantly.
Because we're scared of the AI making a mistake, we write rules that say, if anything looks even slightly out of the ordinary, kick it back to a human for review. But fuzzy judgment requires human intervention.
If you overescalate, you haven't built an autonomous agent. You've just built a very expensive notification system.
Exactly. When you actually force a team to define their logic rules, you realize, true, genuine exceptions are much rarer than we think.
Which brings us to the actionable advice for anyone listening. Defining those rules is step one. But the most critical piece of advice, the thing you must focus on before you write a single line of agentic code, is integrating your data to avoid fragmentation.
That's the #1 blocker, isn't it?
Without a doubt. If your contracts are locked in a legacy ERP and your daily communications are buried in emails, the agent is operating blind. Consolidating that data using MCP servers and RJAC architecture is a non-negotiable prerequisite.
And even after you've integrated the data, you don't just flip a switch and let the agents run wild.
No. You establish baseline metrics before implementation to prove the ROI later, and then you start with agent-assisted workflows before granting full autonomy.
Letting the system do the heavy lifting, but a human still has to hit approve.
Exactly. You build trust over thousands of interactions before incrementally removing that human approval layer.
This has been an incredibly dense, actionable look at the mechanics behind Turku's success. As we wrap up this deep dive, let's distill it down. What is your #1 takeaway from the source material today?
For me, it's the sheer urgency of the market timing. The projections indicate that 43% of Nordic enterprises will deploy production-scale agentic systems by the third quarter of 2026.
Wow, that's fast.
It is. The window to use agentic AI as a competitive advantage is open right now. By 2027, this level of automation won't be an advantage. It will simply be baseline survival.
That's a great point. My biggest takeaway is the concept of data as a strategic asset. For years, having fragmented, messy legacy data was a massive liability. But with MCP servers and ARG architecture, your messy, fragmented legacy data actually turns into your biggest competitive moat. It's the exact institutional memory that makes your specific agents vastly smarter than an out-of-the-box model.
It completely flips the script. But as we look at this transition, it leaves me with one philosophical but highly practical question to mull over. If agentic AI eventually handles 98% of standard operations flawlessly, humans will only ever step in to handle the most bizarre, extreme edge cases. But if human workers are no longer doing the daily repetitive tasks, how will the next generation of workers build the foundational intuition required to solve those extreme edge cases?
A massive challenge for leadership in the coming years, and something you will have to solve for your own team. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. For more AI insights, visit AetherLink.ai.